Morning students. Today we have to see or discuss about an experiment to demonstrate anaerobic respiration in plants. So what are the things required for this experiment? So we need one beaker, we need one test tube, we need mercury, and we need 8 to 10 soaked and peeled off bean seed. Now here a question arises, why we need to take mercury in this experiment? So, since we have to perform an experiment to show that anaerobic respiration, we cannot take water in it. And why we cannot take water in this experiment? Because this water will have dissolved oxygen in it. Okay, and in anaerobic respiration, carbon dioxide is produced. So, this carbon dioxide will also get dissolved in water. So, that is why this is the reason we cannot take water in this experiment. So at the place of water we have to take mercury, because the requirement of aerobic respiration, that is oxygen, is not soluble in mercury, and the product of aerobic or anaerobic respiration, that is carbon dioxide, is also not soluble in mercury. So that is why we need to take mercury in this experiment, because these two gases is not soluble in mercury. And why we cannot take water in this experiment? Because these two gases are soluble in water. Then we need 8 to 10 soaked and peeled off bean seed. Why we need to peel off the bean seed or the pea seed? So as we peel off the bean seed or the pea seed, the surface area will be exposed and it will increase the rate of diffusion of carbon dioxide gas. Okay, then this is how the experimental setup will be arranged. That beaker is filled with mercury, this test tube is also filled with mercury, and with the help of the forceps, the soaked and peeled off bean seed is introduced at the tip of the test tube. So after 2 to 3 days, what is the observation? The level of mercury decreases. And why the level of mercury has decreased in it? Because these germinating seeds are performing which type of respiration? That is anaerobic respiration. And as a result of anaerobic respiration, carbon dioxide is produced, and this carbon dioxide will create a pressure which will decrease the level of mercury in the test tube, whereas there will be increase in the level of mercury in the beaker. Here, why the seeds has performed the process of anaerobic respiration? You must mention here anaerobic respiration, because oxygen is not soluble in mercury. So in the absence of oxygen, these seeds are performing which type of respiration? That is anaerobic respiration. Okay, so observation is what? The level of mercury decreases. And why the level of mercury decreases? Because these bean seeds has performed the process of anaerobic respiration. It is a very important key term over here, anaerobic respiration, as a result of which this carbon dioxide is produced, and this carbon dioxide is displacing the mercury from there, and that is why the level of mercury decreases in the test tube. Now we have to test that the gas produced over here is actually which one, or which gas is produced over here. So for this we will perform an test, and in the test what we will do, we will introduce a KOH stick, and we know from the previous experiments that in KOH this carbon dioxide will get dissolved. So as the carbon dioxide will get dissolved in the KOH stick, again the level of mercury will rise. So this is how we can test that the gas produced in this experiment is carbon dioxide. So just see here, observation will be what? The level of mercury will decrease in the test tube and increase in the beaker. Reason, the germinating seeds has performed the process of anaerobic respiration, due to which carbon dioxide is produced and which has displaced the level of mercury in the test tube. Okay, then what is the test for the gas produced in this experiment? So what we will do in the test? Already we have seen that KOH stick will be introduced, carbon dioxide will get dissolved in the KOH stick, and again there will be the rise in the mercury level back to its normal in the test tube. Okay, so therefore the level of mercury will again rise in the test tube. Here why we need to peel off the germinating seeds. So as we peel off the germinating seeds, it will increase the rate of outward diffusion of carbon dioxide. Then the process of respiration and photosynthesis in plants is distinctly opposite process. And why this experiment is why these two processes distinctly opposite process? Because you see here the requirements of photosynthesis is the product of respiration, and the product of photosynthesis is the requirement for respiration. So this is why these two processes are distinctly opposite process. And again here one reasoning based question arises, that why we cannot perform the experiments based on respiration in plants during the daytime. The reason is what? During the daytime, this is the product of respiration which will be utilized in the process of photosynthesis. So we will not be able to prove any experiment related to respiration in plants. So simple, you will write that these two processes are distinctly opposite process, because the products of one process is the requirement for another process, and the product of this process is the requirement of this process. So that is why we cannot perform the experiments related to respiration in plants during the daytime. Okay, this is all for today. Thank you everyone.